Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to our webinar in partnership with QuickBooks this afternoon. It's a real pleasure that we've got Jacob from the service delivery team at QuickBooks to assist us here. And the topic today is all about increasing the efficiency of how we use QuickBooks and really unlocking that. I'm conscious that some of you already use QuickBooks or are interested in using QuickBooks, but there's always a lot more within the box once you open Pandora's box. And so really wanted to deliver this to give you sort of more of an idea of the capability. There's not to say that this is all there is to QuickBooks. There's a lot more, and indeed there's even more coming in the pipeline in the next few months because they're massively investing in the UK. So it's a really exciting time. It's a really exciting tool, and ultimately there'll be even more to come. So at this point, I'd love to hand over to Jacob, who'll go for a bit more about logistics and how things are going to work, and then we'll get cracking on this awesome webinar. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thanks, John. Hi, everyone. As John mentioned, my name's Jacob. I work in the service delivery team at QuickBooks. I've got quite a strong partnership with Black and White accountants, and the idea here is that we are investing the time to make sure you, as their clients, are really, again, as the title says, increasing efficiency in your business. So there's so much on offer, and we want to be able to assist with that. So any sort of queries or how you can understand a little bit more about the products or anything like that, feel free to get in touch with John and the team. And they'll be able to assist. So you may be watching this live, in which case feel free to ask any questions throughout. You can put it in the little chat box on the right hand side. If you're watching this as a recorded webinar, you'll have different options. If it's on YouTube, for example, you'll have an option to put some comments in there or email the firm directly. But please don't hesitate to, and we'll be happy to answer those queries. So just a reminder of the agenda we'll be covering today. So we're going to be looking at an overview of the QuickBooks mobile app. We're going to be looking at invoicing on the go and how to receive payments that way. And then finally, we're also going to be looking at the renew receipt capture functionality, snapping receipts and bills. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to extend this window here. So you won't be able to see our faces anymore, but you will be able to see the QuickBooks app on there. And I think the most important thing here is, why are we focusing specifically on the app to start with? And it's all about helping you become more efficient as a business. We've invested a lot of time and effort and into the app, and it's much more user friendly, quick and easy to use. I'm a really big fan of stats. I always make sure I've got some stats for webinars, but small businesses are currently spending approximately a third of their time every year on admin. So, it's 120 days, usually after working hours, creating invoices, estimates, tracking mileage, tracking their expenses, etc. So this is an opportunity to save time and, again, become more efficient. So that's part of my role. It's all about, helping you do what you want to be doing, which is, running your business and spending less time worrying about bookkeeping. Okay. So just really quickly about the QuickBooks mobile app. So the app has a rating of 4.7 out of 5, and that is across the two major app stores that we have, Google Play, Apple App Store. And there are 3 different flavors of the QuickBooks mobile app, that I like to call them. This is the iPhone flavor. You've also got the Android and the iPad as well. And they all have exactly the same functionality. You do have slight visual differences. So if you have an iPad, for example, it's going to have a wider screen, and it's just going to look a little bit more like QuickBooks Online. Okay, and if you haven't done so already, you are able to download the app. So if you have got QuickBooks, you can just type in on any of the app stores, QuickBooks Accounting, and it's probably going to bring up 2 apps. It'll be the first one that comes up. The second one is our self-employed product. And if you type in QuickBooks Accounting, it'll be the first app that comes up, and it's free for anybody that has a QuickBooks license. And all you have to use is your standard login information. Okay. So let me just take you through a quick run through of the app. So don't worry, I will be speeding through this, but it's just to give you a flavor of what's going on and what the app looks like. So first of all, you've got all this information on the dashboard. You see at the top, we've got home, dashboard, and activity. So this is the dashboard side of things, and it's going to give you a snapshot of the business, and all the information we have in QuickBooks is going to push all of these stats. So the first one there is my profit and loss, my P&L. How much money have I made? What my income versus my expense. As you can see, I'm in a negative at the moment. And in the top right-hand corner there, I can see it says this quarter, but I can actually change that view if I want. So I can give that a click. And if I wanted to, I could look at this month, for example. It's going to tell me a slightly different story. And what's great about the app is everything is clickable. You can go into anything. So I can dive in and click view profit and loss. And it's going to give me different graphs. I can view a report at the bottom as well. I can change the filters. It's just really good. You imagine you can use it on the go just to see what your income is versus your expenses. Below profit and loss, we've got invoices, and this is something we're going to be touching on today. Being able to track your invoices on the go. We can see our unpaid and our paid invoices. And again, we can tap into this and drill down. We can see our overdue invoices, those that are due soon, and also those that have been paid as well. I'm going to click into, for example, this one from Roy Fisher. Now, this is overdue by 54 days, but you can see there's a little timeline at the top of that invoice. And I can see that invoice has been sent, which is great, but it hasn't been viewed. It hasn't been paid, and ultimately I haven't, that isn't deposited into my bank account. So I would be, on the phone to Roy. He hasn't viewed it. I need to chase him up on that. On the flip side, if I look at my paid invoices, I can use this one, for example, and we've got lots of from Mr. Webinar example. But this has been sent, it's been viewed, and it has been paid. And it was a cash payment, so I just need to deposit that into my bank account. But I will go into that in a little bit more detail later on. But you can just see how easy it is to get a real snapshot of your business on the go. Underneath that, I've got my expenses, and much like my profit and loss, I can change the time period in the top right-hand corner and look at it from a different perspective. And again, of course, I can click into that and I can actually go into any of those expenses myself. Now, obviously, claiming back expenses is super important. If you're not sure about what you should be claiming back as a business expense, this is a sort of question to be asking the team at Black and White Accounting. So have a look through that, and that's just a really good way of seeing that. And then finally, the bottom part here is this account balances. Now, this is real-time information from the bank accounts connected, and due to a piece of legislation called open banking, I couldn't encourage you more to connect your bank feeds to QuickBooks. This is something we can cover on a future webinar if there is interest, but you no longer will have to go and log into your open banking, print off PDFs or Excel spreadsheets, provide them to your accountant. This is going to get a live feed through from your bank, and it's completely efficient, and it's completely secure as well because it's directly through your bank. But that's going to drive all that information that I've got on there, and it's going to help me get a snapshot of my business. In the top right, I've got activity, and again, this is just giving me a real view into some of the recent activity I've had in QuickBooks. Again, really useful if you're on the go, seeing, have I paid that invoice, have I raised that expense, and I can click into all of those if I want to. At the bottom, I've got three buttons. I've got the home button in the bottom left. I've also got the plus button at the bottom and the burger button in the bottom right. So let me tell you through the plus button. This is going to give me quick access to features I'm going to be using on a regular basis. So create an estimate, create an invoice, receive an invoice payment. We're going to be covering all of those today. Raising a sales receipt, an expense, a mileage trip. I could snap a picture of my receipt as well. It's all there and super easy to go, so you don't have to spend loads of time fiddling on it. And then finally, in the bottom right-hand corner, we have the burger button. Now, it's called the burger button. I personally see it as 3 lines, but, if that's what helps, then you can see it as a burger button. But if you give that a click, that's, again, very similar to the plus button, going to give me access to some of the features I'm going to be using on a regular basis, but it gives you a bit more of a visual on there. So top left, transactions, I've got how to connect, my bank feeds, for example. I've got a cash flow planner. There's something we can do a webinar on as well. Your 30-day and 90-day cash flow forecaster, really useful during this time at the moment, as you can imagine. All of this is completely free as well. You can add customers, create invoices, sales receipts, expenses, snap receipts, mileage. It's all there, and those are just the shortcuts. If you click all there, you're going to get a real insight into some of the things you can do. You might want to get a bit more of a profit of your profit and loss report of your profit and loss, and you can look at it that way as well. So again, I'm not going to pretend that was a very, very quick run through, but hopefully it just gives you an idea of some of the functionality you can have. The most important thing here is that the app is not there to replace QuickBooks Online as a software. It's meant to assist. So this is something on the go, helping you if you're a trader, for example, and you want to send invoices on the go, or you've got loads of expenses and you want to remember to do them if you've got a little bit of downtime. This is a great way to do it. So not just on the computer, but able to control your business on the go. Okay. And again, if you have any questions like that, if you're watching it live or if you're watching this as a recorded webinar, please do let us know. You can put them in the comments or put them in the chat box on the webinar screen as well. Now, we've chosen to go through two topics today, and the first one is invoicing on the go. Now, I call it quicker invoicing and quicker payments, and it really is about that piece, that quick piece, and getting on top of things. It's really simple. It's focused on small businesses, not accountants. And again, if we're looking for a stat here, at the moment, and you can imagine this is massive, UK businesses are chasing approximately £50 billion of late payments at the moment. Now, of course, that's an accumulative fee, but the average small business is owed at one time £6,142. And, we know that 25% of small businesses right now are facing an imminent threat of insolvency. So if you can get paid faster, you've got a great chance of surviving. And we know because of COVID and other such reasons, there's been a massive delay in receiving payments. I know that through a lot of the firms, accounting firms I work alongside. So this will be a way of, helping with that quicker payments piece as well. So we're going to look today at the end-to-end process. So we're going to create an estimate. We're going to convert it to an invoice. We're going to send that invoice, track it, and receive the payment as well. Now, I'll take you along the journey. You may be in a situation where you don't create estimates, in which case you'd create an invoice straight on the go. But I'll show you in case you wanted to. Some people create estimates for clients. Some people create estimates just for their own internal. So we'll take you through that today. So to create my estimate, I'm going to go to the plus button. And I'm going to go to estimate in the top right-hand corner. Now, it's a very similar process for creating an estimate or an invoice, and so much so that we don't double up on it. I'll show you what we'll do if we wanted to convert it from an estimate to an invoice. Now, the first thing I need to do is choose a customer or a project. Now, I'm able to click into that, and I can choose a list of customers I already have in QuickBooks. Now, these are customers I could create in the app. These are customers I could create in QuickBooks Online, and even I could do it on the go. In the bottom right-hand corner, I've got that plus button. And I can choose, first name and last name. I can put an email address in there, a phone number, mobile. You've got an address in there. And all of this can be changed at a later date. Now, outside of QuickBooks, I do part-time football coaching, and it's extremely useful for me to have this ability. I would often meet parents of the kids that I coach, and, they'll say, I'm really interested in doing some coaching sessions, and I'll just need to take down their details on the go. And this is a really great way of doing that. Now, for the sake of the webinar, I'll choose a sort of here's one I made earlier, and we'll use Mr. Webinar Example. That's an original name. And Mr. Webinar Example is going to have all the details I need for him associated on that. Quick question in from Jennifer. Great question. Does the app update the online account immediately? Yes, it does. Immediately. You may, if you have both open at the same time, I suppose you could refresh the QuickBooks Online, but yeah, it's instantaneous. Okay, so I've got the my customer in there. Now I need to create an estimate number. Now I can add my own estimate number, and the system will then sequentially continue that estimate number moving forward, or the system will actually automatically create a number, and then again it will sequentially continue thereafter. Now I always have a certain way of doing my estimates. For this particular case, I'm going to do it because I usually only raise one a day. I'm going to do 1507. That's today's date, and I can change my estimate number on there. If I want, sorry, I can change my estimate date on there if I wanted to. And then I've got the option to have an expiry. Now, you don't have to have an expiry, but I could choose one in there. I could put, let's say, a week on there. Okay, so that's ready to go. Now I can choose the status. As I mentioned, some people raise estimates just for their internal sort of bookkeeping or internal files. Some people use them actually sent to customers. So in this particular case, if I use my example as a football coach, I could send it to them. I could have it as pending. But in this particular case, I'm happy to say, listen, they accepted it, and I'm happy with that, and it's good to go. And I can even put things in like the accepted date. This is really useful. It's accepted today. I can say who was accepted by, and I can say it was the client. And that's really useful. You don't have to fill in all of that, but it's just a useful way of keeping up to date. You might look at it at the end of the month, see how many estimates have been accepted and that kind of thing. Next, I need to choose my product or service. So what is it that I'm selling? Now, very similar to the customers here. If I click into that, I've got products or services that I've created myself. Now, again, you can create this in the app. You can create this on QuickBooks Online. But I've also got the option, if I wanted to, in the bottom right, a little plus button, I can create one on the go. And I can put whatever I wanted in there. I could put any product or service. I could put a description, I could put a unit price, I could put a tax code. In this particular case, the company I'm using is not VAT registered, but absolutely you can put a tax code on there, 20%, for example. Again, since it's a webinar, here's one I made earlier. I'm going to use my football coaching example. Very, very simple here. £25 an hour. I can choose a date as well. So that was today. £25 an hour. I'm happy to do that. And I can even put a comment or note to my customer that they'll see on the form as well. So that's good to go. Again, I can put another message in there. I can put a note to myself, like a memo, for example, customer keen to run 10 sessions across July. That would be really, really useful to me, and the customer won't see that either. So estimates ready to go. Got the customer in there, the number, the date, the expiry, the status. It's all very detailed, and I can use it to match what I want for my business. And I'm going to click save. Now the estimate is created. I can go out of the software, come back into it. It's ready to go. In the top right hand corner, I've got the three circles, and I can click email. Now I've got an email address associated with that customer, and it will email straight across that way. I can also preview it as a PDF, or I can email it to myself, for example. There's lots of opportunity, but I'm happy with that, and it's good and ready to go. Now, in this particular case, the customer has accepted the estimate. I can send it to them, but I'm going to show you what the process is for converting it to an invoice. Now, a classic situation here is that recently I had 2 window cleaners come around to view my house to do obviously some work. The first window cleaner was much cheaper. I much preferred him, but he went home, I suppose, spoke to his receptionist. They raised an estimate, sent it in the post, second class. And by the time I actually got the estimate, I'd already agreed to go with the second guy, even though he was more expensive, just because it was, it was quicker and it was more simple for me. And as a consumer, that's really, really important. So being able to email that on the driveway after I've been into a house is fantastic. But I don't have to create that invoice again from scratch. I can just convert to invoice, and you can do that with any estimate you've got in the system as well. You can convert it straight to an invoice. And again, very similar. All of this can be changed, but it's taken all the information we had in that estimate, and it's just brought it straight through to the invoice. So I've got my customer in there. Similar to the invoice number, I can put in what I want. I'm going to match it to my estimates. And again, the system will sequentially continue it thereafter. If you leave it blank, the system will apply its own invoice number as well. I could change the date. I could change the net term. So for example, if I know that customer, or I'm not sure they're going to pay, I could put net 15 on there, and that's going to change the due date. I can change that all myself. I've got my £25 1 hour session in there, but I can equally add in more if I wanted to. And again, if it was VAT registered, you'd have the subtotal different because it would include 20% on there. And again, I can put a message into the customer, and I can put a note to myself. So it's really simple. It's ready to go. That invoice is good as you could have it. Now, if I click save, similar to before, I could now go out of the software, come back in, go to invoices, and it'll be ready to go. I just need to send it. So again, I've got different options here. I could, if I click here, I can see all of the details. And all I want to do is click send invoice here. Now, a few things to point out. There's an email address at the top. Now that I had registered to that customer, but I can change that. I can even CC myself in. The subject line and the notes into the email there, that's all been created by myself. I'm going to show you how you do that in QuickBooks, but you can change that yourself. And then finally at the bottom, you've got an option to customize how your invoices look. You can do this in the app, or you can do this on QuickBooks online in the software. So I'll show you how to do that as well. But I'm happy with that. The idea is that once you put the work in initially, I can just send this really, really quickly, and it's ready to go. So I'm going to click send. And that invoice has now gone, and you can see it's got a tick for sent there. Now I've connected the email address for that client, so hopefully it will come through on here, and I can show you what it looks like on the other end. So here we go. That invoice has come up. It's come up with the subject line that I asked for it to do. I've got my company logo in there, and that's how it's going to appear to my clients. Now, of course, you can edit that to make it look a bit different, but I've got all my information in here. That's what the client will view. So he or she can click review and pay. And it will look the same on the computer as well as in the app. Okay, so I can see the balance is due, and if I'm not sure how to pay, I've got that information in there. They can click view invoice, and more information. And all I have to do is click view invoice. Now, this is an example of how I've customized my invoice. You can see I've got my details in there, the date, who it's invoiced to. I've got my address in the top left. I've got my company logo, and it's all good. You know, if I wanted to receive like a back payment, for example, I could put my details in there. It really is, you're able to customize it as well as possible. So a good question from Sharon, can you use BCC? I believe you can. What you need to do is you need to set up the options already in QuickBooks Online, and I'll show you how to do that. Just having a quick look myself now. I'll tell you what, we'll have a look into that when we go into the product as well. But yeah, I don't see why you couldn't BCC yourself into it. Absolutely. Okay, so I'll leave that question there so I come back to it at the end. Now I've looked at that invoice, it's good to go. I'm very happy with that. Now if I go back into the product, and I'm just gonna go all the way back to the beginning, and I go to if I can go to my invoices here, I can go to this is the one we just created. So I can go into there, and I can see it's been viewed, and I can see the date it's been viewed as well. Now that viewed button there is really key. The amount of times the client said to me, oh, you know, I haven't seen the invoice. Well, actually, Mr. Webinar example, I can see you've seen it, and you know, I'd like to pay that. So that's really good. And I'm going to show you some tips and tricks on how to get paid a little bit quicker with that as well. But that invoice has been created, it's good to go, and that's great. Now, there are a few ways you can get paid quicker, and I will discuss those, including PayPal and Go Cardless as well, which are two integrations we have. Finally, what I'm just going to show you is how I'd receive payment, like on the go, for example. Very, very common. Some people carry around cash. Well, some people receive cash, and some people carry around like a card machine. All I have to do again, just go to the plus, go to invoice payment, and what I like about QuickBooks here is I can choose the customer, go down to Mr. Webinar example, and it's going to show me all the open invoices I have against that customer. So let's say, for example, I could tick that, and we know the amount paid is £25. I could change the amount. Let's say the customer only paid me £15, and it would change to partially paid. But again, I can put all this information in there. I can even email this receipt to my client if I wanted to. So they paid today, they paid with cash. So there's options in there. I can put a reference number, where I'm actually going to deposit that money as well. I've got undeposited funds, which is an account I've got set up. And again, it's something that you can create. Any cash that you have, you're going to put into your undeposited funds. It's cash that you've collected as well. Sharon, great question. Are you able to change the date format to be date, month, year? Yes, you absolutely can. It's a classic Americanism in there. You're able to change all of that, but great question. Yeah, I'll show you how to do that. Okay, so that invoice is, sorry, that payment is ready to go. And all I have to do is click save. And again, just to show you the whole process, if I go to my invoices, I go to my paid invoices now, there it is. It's sent, it's viewed, and it has been paid. Again, it shows me the date it's been paid as well, which I find really, really useful. The only thing I haven't done is deposited it, but of course, when I do end up taking that cash in hand and deposit it into the bank, I will create a bank deposit, and that money will remove itself from my undeposited funds, and we are good to go. So again, that was really, really quick, don't get me wrong, but that's a really quick end-to-end process of how, you know, creating an estimate, converting it to an invoice, paying that invoice, and emailing it, of course, and tracking it, and then getting paid as well. So really, really quick, but it shows you, if you get the system down well, that's how easy it is to do. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you what it looks like in product as well. So I'm just going to share with you my QuickBooks Online, which is here. So if you use QuickBooks, you'll recognize this. This is your classic QuickBooks Online license. A few options. Exactly the same process, by the way. If you didn't want to do this on the go, it's exactly the same concept on here. Now, just to point out, I got asked as well, you know, invoices that have been, you know, does the system update? Yes, it does. All of my invoices are sort of in there, which is great, ready to go. Very happy with that. Which is good. Okay, now here we go. Brilliant. So we can see that invoice is in there. It's been paid. I can print it. I can copy it. I can email it, etc. I can go into it as well if I wanted to, and I can see that invoice really easily. There you go. All the information we put in on the app. Okay, and it's updated instantaneously as well. And you can see when it was sent, which is great. There's lots of information in there, which I find really, really useful. Like I've got big paid status at the top, and where that payment is as well. Now, if I was creating an invoice on the go, I'd click New Invoice, and I can put all the information again. I can create a customer on the go by adding New. Okay, and put the information there, add more details as well, billing address, phone number, email. As an example, I'll show you if I have missed a webinar example, customer email comes up, etc. I've got some estimates in there if I wanted to. So it brings through all this information. It makes it really, really easy to track everything as well. Okay, now you'll notice here, you'll notice here, Sharon, this is your CC and BCC options as well. If you did this in product, I'll show you how to do that in the app as well, but it's a really, really great way to do it. So that should show you how you can BCC and CC using the product as well. Now, 2 ways to get paid faster. I'm not sure if anyone here uses PayPal, but we have an integration with PayPal. And what it really means is 50%. Let me tell you about what it is first, actually. So PayPal, of course, is a bank, and it's a way of getting paid. It doesn't cost anything, but there are certain rates that will be charged. If we click here, this is this free integration we have with PayPal. Now, usually rates are 2.9% and a 30p transaction fee. But with QuickBooks, if you receive the payment, you connect to PayPal and receive a payment through QuickBooks, it's going to be a much lower rate. And what it will mean is, if you connect to PayPal, when you send your invoices to your clients, when I showed you the system how to do it, they're going to be able to have a button that says Pay Now with PayPal. So you're not delaying on them, going into their online banking, typing in the bank's information that you've sent them, or your bank details. What you're able to do is you're able to get paid instantaneously on the spot and for a reduced fee. And we know that approximately 50% of users who are using PayPal in QuickBooks right now were paid within the same week as they send their invoices. And that's an average of 3 days. And I think that speed of payment is crucial to customers at the moment. If it's a direct debit situation that you have when you go to creating a new invoice, we've got an integration with a company called Go Cardless. I recommend having a look through that, having a chat with John and the team at Black and White, and again, just having a look at how that works. But again, it's all about getting your customers to pay straight away, and this is an automatic direct debit payment as well, so if it's a recurring transaction. Finally, another tool that's really, really useful, if you go to the cog in the top right hand corner, this is where you're going to start being able to do things. So custom form styles, for example, this is what I was talking about earlier. I can go to a new style for an invoice for an estimate. I'll choose this one that I've got already open, but this is how I can start customizing my invoices. I can choose different templates, splash on some color, change my font. I can change the content. I can go to emails on there. Okay, and I can put loads of information in there, which is really, really good. And it's very, very simple and easy to do as well. I'm going to show you as well another thing we have, which is a new tool we have called automated reminders. Okay, so again, I go to the cog and I can go to account and settings. Okay, and on the left hand side, I can go to sales, and this is where I can start choosing the things that we want to do. So my preferred net payment terms, delivery, shipping. Do I want some fields in there about deposits or discounts in my invoices? I've got lots and lots of things in there as well. I can put default messages, but this is something called automated reminders. Now, I can create up to 3 automatic reminders, and they'll apply to any new invoices. And for example, I can send out this automatically, let's say 5 days before the invoice has been paid, saying, hey, I can change this dear to, I can choose whatever I want, and I can put the email address in there, and I can change that as well. And I can also email myself a copy. So useful, I could create, a couple of these. I could do one 10 days before, I could do 10 days after, I could do it on the paid date. But this is a way of getting paid much quicker and not having to chase your clients. And then obviously you can use the invoicing on the go, or you can use invoicing through QuickBooks to see have they viewed it, and it's just an easier way of chasing your clients, or rather not chasing your clients. So I really recommend having a look through that as well. And something else, here we go. This is what I want to show you. For the question I got through, I can change all of this information on the invoices, and I can BCC myself into every single email. Same with CCing as well, and we're good to go. So I know that was a really quick run through of invoicing on the go, but you can see how brilliant it is. I'd recommend, invoicing through the product. I'd recommend invoicing through the app, and it's just much quicker, and you're going to save yourself a lot of time. And ultimately, remember, the point of this webinar is to look at how we can improve efficiency, and this is one of the best ways that our clients do that. Okay, apologies, need a glass of water there. So again, any questions you have, if you're watching this as a recorded webinar, please send them through. If it's on YouTube, you can put in the comments section, send them through to John and the team at Black and White as well. All right, what I'm going to do is I'm now going to take you through the new piece of functionality known as receipt capture. So I'm going to go back to my phone now. Great, here we go. We're back in the phone. Now, I get a lot of questions. Ultimately, the first question is, what is receipt capture? What is receipt snap? And QuickBooks receipt capture is all about allowing you to take pictures of your receipts or bills on the app. QuickBooks will then extract that data, and you'll be able to match it to a transaction and categorize it all within a couple of minutes. So this is absolutely huge. Again, 45% of small businesses are not maximizing their expense claims at the moment, and 42% of them are regularly losing their receipts. I'm a classic example of this. I put receipts in my wallet. I then throw something in the bin. I'll throw the receipt in by accident. It'll be in my car, on the dashboard, in the footwell. Why not take a picture of a receipt straight away? And you can then throw it away if it's uploaded into QuickBooks if you wanted to. And the idea here is about being easy to use, and you're making sure you're claiming all of your expenses as part of your tax bill. You want to be able to reduce your profitability and reduce your tax on there as well. Now I'm going to show you how easy it is to take a photo of a receipt using the app. Again, as always, we go to our plus button here and we go to snap receipt. Now I've got my camera on my phone here. It's going to be really quick, so I'll show you really quickly. I've got a receipt from the post office from a couple of months ago, because I don't tend to take receipts that often, and I've also been out of business as well during COVID. But I've got my receipt here. You can see this is coming through, and it's ready to go. So I've got that there, and what's going to happen is a green box is going to appear around the receipt, and it's captured. Now I haven't pressed anything, it's just done that automatically. It was so quick, I'll show you again. So remember, a little green box is going to appear around the receipt, like so, and it's good. Now to you and I, that looks very, very small, but QuickBooks is going to extract that information. I'm going to click use this photo. And again, that will work with large A4 bills and larger receipts as well. And that receipt has now been uploaded. Now, what I like about this is what I tend to do is I will build up a week's worth of receipts and then take them all at the same time. So I could, if I wanted to, just click capture another receipt there. But I am done and I'm ready to go. Now, that's where the app ends. But you think about it on the go, that's with an iPhone 5S. I mean, depends on what phone you have. That's quite an old phone now. I use the word old lightly, but that's taking that picture. Now I'm going to show you what that looks like in the product now. So we're going to get back into QuickBooks Online, and on the go, remember, you're going to be taking pictures of receipts, and then you'll be able to go in at the end of the week and have a look at them in QuickBooks Online. So if I go to banking on the left hand side in the navigation, I can scroll down to receipts here. Now you'll notice I've taken a picture of that receipt and it is now processing. Now, it can take up to 15 minutes to process that information. I find more often than not, it will take a couple of minutes on there as well. Excuse me. Okay, so while it's processing that, it's extracting that information, it's good to go. Now, for the sake of the webinar, a bit of like an art attack theme here. Here's one I made earlier. It's going to come through onto here. Now, notice it's for review, which means that I need to look at it before it impacts my books. I've got some invoices, some bills on here. Now, if I go to review here, I can now review that receipt. So first of all, you can see the picture here. I can actually zoom in, look at the quality of that. It's brilliant. I've got all the information. Now, I haven't touched anything on here, by the way. So this is all information that QuickBooks has extracted. Now, first of all, I can choose between a receipt or a bill. The major difference on a bill or a receipt is, of course, having to put a payee in there. The receipt. Now, I just need to choose the bank account. Now, I will have my bank feed associated with this. So I just need to make sure that I've got that connected. It was from my HSBC current account. The payment date, the 27th of May. Now I can change that, but it's taken that information. If I look at the app, so I look at the receipt, 27th of May, good to go. Now QuickBooks has auto-categorized this as printing, postage, and stationery. I'm actually very happy with that, but I can choose through a whole list of different categories as well. If you're not sure how to categorize expenses, this is the type of conversation to have with the team at Black and White. It's taken post office limited from the top, but I could change that if I wanted to. I could put something else in there. And it's got the amount here, which is the subtotal of £4.10. Now, this isn't a license that has VAT turned on, but again, it would split that up into the VAT separately as well. And of course, I can put a memo in there to remind myself, it was sending package to client, for example, hypothetically, and I'm happy with that. Okay, I click Save and Next, and I create expense. This is the bit that's massive here. Now, some people just take pictures of receipts and they've got them in the system. What we're able to do is we're actually able to create those expenses really, really simply. Now, in the meantime, I wanted to point out something here. The receipt that we just took a photo of, it's ready to go, and it's actually come into QuickBooks. And what I love about this is come up with a button that says duplicate. QuickBooks knows we've already taken a picture of this receipt, so we don't need it. Now, if you're like me, I'm quite forgetful. I often take pictures of the same receipts a couple of times. QuickBooks is going to remind me, hey, I've already taken a picture of that receipt. I don't need that, so I can delete it. If I go to my expenses now, okay, I can go down to the 27th of May, and I can see that expense has been created. And this is what QuickBooks has done. So it's extracted the information, it's created as an expense. I've got the information in there, it's got the payment date, it's brilliant. If we take it one step further, if I go to my banking here and I've got my bank feed connected, now this is very poorly organized. I've got 191 transactions I need to review. But if I go down to the 27th of May, you can see there's a record has been found for an expense, and I can click match. I can even click into it if I want to. We can see the expense has been created, and I can match it to that transaction. I can match it, and it's done. So what I've done is I've taken a picture of a receipt. I've created an expense using the information that the system has taken from that receipt, and then what I've done now is I've matched it to that receipt and the online banking as well. It's all good to go, and that is the full process on there. Got the memo in there. I've got the picture of the receipt. I can click into that if I wanted to, and that's going to download it. I've got it there. Great, really easy. And if you can't see a time-saving part on here, then you must be doing it brilliantly so far, because this is as good as it gets, in my opinion. I think it's really, really useful. If I go to my receipts as well here, if I go back to it, I can also do a bill. So this is a great example here of a bill. I can change that to bill, and I can choose the payee. So I can create a payee. That would be Stitch Surrey. And again, it's taken it out separately. It's, I can categorize it however I want, depending on what it is. QuickBooks is going to try and do it, but ultimately using machine learning as well. If you have recurring bills or recurring receipts, it will start categorizing based on how you previously categorized it. You can see it's brought in the description. I can put a memo in there. It's got the date of that bill, and I'm happy with that. And I can click Save and Next, and again, create that bill in exactly the same way. I can match that bill to that transaction. Now, if taking a picture on the app is not for you, there are two other ways you can bring data into QuickBooks. The first is you've got this drag and drop. Now, if you have an email from a client, you've got a receipt on there, or you've got a bill, you can literally drag that receipt or that bill into QuickBooks. Alternatively, I could save it and I could browse from my files. I go to my file here, go to receipts, or rather receipt capture, and I can bring in that bill, and it's going to again extract the information exactly the same way as if I took a picture on there as well. So that's really, really great. That's good to go, and I'm very happy with that. Now, you can drag and drop multiple files at the same time. You can be in a PDF or a JPEG or a PNG file. It won't work if you've got multiple receipts or bills on the same file, but if you have them all separate, then that's fine as well. Okay. The third option you've got is with something called email forwarding. Now, if you've done this for the first time, you'll be able to set up your own email address. It will use this domain, which is at qbodocs.com, but my company is called JE Coaching. I've just created this email address, JE Coaching. Now, what that means is all of your suppliers or anybody, they don't need a QuickBooks license, they'll be able to email that address with the picture of the receipt or the bill, and QuickBooks will then take that information, it will process it, and you'll be able to review it at the end of the week. And it's a massive, massive step forward, I think. So you can basically send that out to all of your clients. If you've got any receipts or you've got any bills or whatever it is, or colleagues internally, suppliers, whatever it is, you can email that address and it will take the information into QuickBooks. Classic questions I have when it comes to this is, does it work with multi-currencies? It doesn't work with like euros, for example. No, not at the moment, but it is in the pipeline. If you have multiple tax codes on a receipt, or you choose one when we review it, and again, all you have to do is go into your expenses. I can go back into it now, and I can add, if I wanted to, I can add various different tax codes. Now, I haven't got it on this expense sheet because my company is not VAT registered, but I could absolutely create, put different tax codes on there. Same thing people ask me is, can I, put 50% under printed, postage, and stationery? Can I put 50% under something else? I'm just off the top of my head, it could be advertising, for example. Again, I could choose the same thing there, and I could just do really simply, I could do £2.5 there and £2.5 there. So you can always go back into it and change it at a later date as well. So that is, in a nutshell, the receipt capture functionality. Again, I do apologize, I have gone through that at some speed, but what we'll do is I will provide Black and White with some step-by-step guides. So if you're interested in those, that will take you through them. It'll be just step-by-step process on how you use those. I really recommend giving it a go. Both steps are very different, but they're going to ultimately help you become more efficient, and spend less time doing admin and more time, focusing on your business. And it's only going to help things, if you're reducing your tax bill by claiming more expenses, or if you're being able to send out more invoices quicker and get more business as a result, that's really useful as well. So hopefully that's been interesting. Had some great questions on the live webinar. But again, if you're watching this as a recorded webinar, please do get in touch with any questions and we'll be happy to answer them on there. Anything else you wanted to add, John? John's just muted himself.
Sorry, my apologies. I had to take myself off of mute because I was aware that I caused some distractions earlier. Nothing really to add at this stage, but I didn't realise it was called a burger button. That's brilliant.
Yeah, that's the thing. You're going to only see it now as a burger button.
But no, I know ultimately, especially in this climate, especially for small businesses, anything that can help you get paid sooner, is really enabling. The estimate functionality of it is a real USP of how QuickBooks works and how the app works. And I love that picture of you sort of sitting on the drive and sending the estimate. That even your window cleaner, like you say, you're paying 40% more because you sent it then, rather than the lady that came the next day but then took 2 weeks to get back to you. So that's amazing. Send the estimate out quickly, send the invoice out quickly, and then you'll get paid quicker, and then you can also automate the chasing as much as possible. So any of that can kind of help control your debtors, or in English, what people owe you, is a fantastic thing. And that's the idea of doing everything on the go, whether it be the estimates or the invoices going out, or even just making sure you're claiming all those expenses. 45% of people aren't including all the expenses they could, or 42% receipts lost. Those are horrible stats. And so anything that we can do to help make the client experience easier, the better.
Yeah, I would just start off small as well. Just try it out with a few customers, or try it out internally, just because it's worth giving it a go. And you can, that time saving piece will add up. And a lot of people see time as money. A lot of people see it as, trying to get that work-life balance. Just work it out for yourself. But, being stuck in the ways that you are, it's better to try something new and see if it works for you. Absolutely. I'm glad we've been able to show you that today. Brilliant. All right, well, 45 minutes to the dot, so that's some time given back to you. But if you have any questions, please don't hesitate to get in touch, and hope you have a good rest of the day.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate everyone's time.
Thanks, John.